In this video for 2017 paper 1, we'll try and get questions 6 to 10 starting with 3 sets. So you can see here you have 15 minutes. You're told there's 80 students in the class in part B, and work out the value of x. So it's one of these x unknown questions. They have WhatsApp and Snapchat but not Instagram, so sometimes the x is in all three. Don't just assume it's going to be there. Double check WhatsApp, Snapchat but not Instagram. Here's Instagram, so it has to be here. So students are in 6th year. WIS, we don't really need to know any of this information. 36 of WhatsApp. Let's do the equals 36. It looks like there's no universal set here, but let's just put one in as a matter of good practice. Assume this is a box. 40 Instagram equals 40. 54 Snapchat equals 54. So 14 have WhatsApp and Instagram. WhatsApp and Instagram is 14. Doesn't say anything about only. 24 have Instagram and Snapchat. Doesn't say anything about only. And then we'll get down to this one. 8 have all three. So we need to put that in first. 8. So quite a slow build up to this one. Now we're going back up to this arrow that I'll just make a bit bigger. 14 have WhatsApp and Instagram. W and I. So that would mean that if I put 14 there, there would be more than 14 in W and I. So you can see that these two have to add up to 14. So that would leave 6. Or if you can't see, 14 minus 8. If you want to do it on rough work, which I advise you, 15 minutes before bringing your 6 across. I'm putting it in here. Now 24 is I and S, which is this one here. I and S will be in here, but with only will be in both of them for I and S. So that will be 24. So I can't put 24 in. I'd have to put 24 minus 8, which is 16. And now you can see I can get this section in here. 40 minus the 3 numbers already there. So I have 16 and 8 is 24, and 6 is 30, which would leave 10 in here. You do all the maths in the exam. 40 minus 30 equals 10, and so on. You don't need me to do it for you. So now we have the minus x parts. So 6 and 8 is 14. So there's 36 in total. 36 minus 14 is 22. So there's 22 left. So because of the x, I'd have to say minus x, which would leave 36 in total in that circle. And similarly down the bottom, 16 and 8. 16 and 8 is going to be 24. And I'd have to say 54 minus 24, there's 30 left. So if I put 30 here, I have an extra x. So I'd have to take away the x to balance it off. And then use this information. And then we're told there's 80 students. And we have to solve for x. So let's have a look at that. We just add them all together. So adding them all together, we take the big circle, which we know there's 40 in. There's 40 in there. Then we have these two. The x's cancel, so we're left with 22. So you can circle them like that in your rough work paper. Then we're left with the 30 minus x. So the total of all of these, 40, 20 and 30, will be 92. So 92 minus x is going to be equal to total, which you're given in part B, which is 80. So x will be equal to 12 here. So you had 15 minutes to do it. You could do it twice on rough work. You could probably have time to go to McNally's and get back into the exam hall. Although I don't think you're allowed to do that. So just focus on the question at hand and take your time. Maybe do it once or twice and just double prove to yourself that you've gotten it correct before moving on. So they love these tables in the junior cert with statements about sets. You're asked to write in English or in mathematical notation. So again, take your time. 8 is the number of elements in W intersection I intersection S. I would just write 8 have all three. Some of them will be easier than others. Anything else jump out? Statement 2, 24 have Instagram and Snapchat. Instagram intersection Snapchat equals 24, and I'm just going to put in now the bracket and the number symbol to match what's up here. They've kind of given you this terminology to use. Statement 3 looks straightforward. 10 is the number of elements in I less, so we can't have either of these, so this is I on its own, I only, Instagram only, is equal to 10, or the number of Instagram only is equal to 10. And statement 4, more students have Snapchat, more, so this looks like greater than have WhatsApp. So the number of Snapchat, call it S, more is greater than the number who have WhatsApp, which is W. So again, take your time, rough work, maybe come to this one at the end of the exam, have a little bit of a strategy to maximize the questions you're going to do quite quickly and have confidence that you're going to get right. Question 7 also requires a really good knowledge of sets. So this is the question that's going to separate the top students from each other. Give an example of two non-empty sets A and B for which A intersection B is equal to A. Well, you don't really know where this question is going, even as a good student. Just write down two sets A and B. They could intersect. So we say A intersection B is equal to A. So this intersection is equal to A. So what does that mean? It means that there's nothing in here. That's empty. And it could just look like that. There could be symbols in here. Or maybe it just could be that there's stuff in the middle looking like just a bit of experimentation. So let's try and expand on what they're looking for. Give an example of two non-empty sets A and B for which A intersection B is equal to A. Well, if we take the first scenario, A might just be equal to the number 1. B might be equal to, if you want to use squiggly brackets, say 1 and 2. So these are two non-empty sets. Let's see if I put the information onto the sets, will it work for us? So always use maths to try and show these things. 1 would be here, and 2 would be here, and A intersection B here is equal to 1, which is equal to A. So that definitely works. So what about the second scenario that we kind of came up with here? Well, the intersection, what about if A is equal to, we'll use different numbers, 2 and 3. And what about if B is equal to 2 and 3? Now we could actually put a 4 in here too. They're two different sets. I don't think they're looking for exactly this. You could put another element in this side, but you could just say 2, 3, 4, say. And will that work? It surely does. 2 and 3 in the middle. Set B disappeared. 2 and 3 in the middle. 4 here, and you can see A intersection B. So there we have an example of two non-empty sets, and you can come up with loads of scenarios here. In part B, we have another really good knowledge of sets required. An example of two non-empty sets P and Q. Now I don't think you can do these questions without giving examples like above. So let's look, what are they looking for? P less Q is equal to P. So again, we haven't a clue where this is going. Nobody does until you write down set P and set Q. And P less Q, we know from our knowledge of sets, this is P less Q shaded, P less Q. So they want P less Q to be equal to P, which means that this guy will have to be empty for P less Q to be equal to P. So we could have anything in here, we just can't have anything in the intersection. So that's all they're looking for here. Let's just double check that. Let's have a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4. Will that work? That's P and Q. Here, P less Q. would be equal to 1 and 2, which is equal to P. And we just change the numbers. I'll use the sets on the left here. Let's say 5 and 6, 7. You can then say that P less Q, we already have it written, is equal to 5, 6, which is also equal to P. So you can see here the maths is not confusing, but these questions do challenge students to kind of just be patient. You kind of lose the will to live sometimes when you've done loads of exams, but these questions, take your time, always give mathematical examples. Question 8, a school can get its electricity from Buzz or Lecky. The graphs below show the cost of electricity per month for each company. So let's just jump down for a second. So this one is more expensive. Then at this point it becomes cheaper all through here. And then at this point it becomes dearer again. Obviously at this point it's dearer. So there's 2 points at where B of X and L of X intersect. So we can kind of see what's going on in this graph. We have the cost per month and we have the number of units used. So let's see what the questions are based on this graph. So one of the companies charges a fixed fee plus a fee for each unit of electricity used. State which company charges no fixed fee and give an answer for your reason. Give a reason for your answer based on your graph. So no fixed fee. Well, it has to start at 0, doesn't it, for no fixed fee? And then there's 4 increments up to 100. This looks like 50. So that's a €50 standing charge. You all know that at this point. So which one is this guy? The curvy one is L of X. And just go back up and check. L of X is Lecky. So write down Lecky, L of X. Just the name of the function, L of X, and the reason 0, 0 represents no fixed fee. Second part, write down the domain. X comes before Y, domain comes before range. So the X values and the Y values of the function B of X as shown on the diagram. So B of X, what are my X values? For B of X is obviously the other one. So my X values are from 0. So 0, 50. It's the starting point. And the end point is, let's just go to it. Coming across to here. 325, 1000, 325 is over here. So my domain 0 to 1000 and my range 50 to 325, 0 to 1000, and we said for the range 50 to 325. So your knowledge of domain and range has come up pretty much most years. There's a part C here too. So always these reading from graphs question, guaranteed to come up. Use the graphs to estimate the set of values for when B of X is less than L of X. So let's look at when is B of X less than L of X. Well, these are the points at which they cross, B of X and L of X. So X has to be between whatever number this is. Just tidy up the graph. It's halfway across to 200, so 100. X will be between these two numbers. Nice way to write it, 800. You could write just between 100 and 800 will be full marks, but between 100 and 800. Then you're asked to explain what your answer to C part 1, so this one here, means about the cost of electricity. Let's have a look. So what can we say about the cost of electricity? We can say that between 100, between here and here, this one is cheaper, which is B of X. So you just write down here between these values, Buzz cheaper. Between 100 and 800, probably write that down too. Between what is it, 100 units. Let's write down what it is, between 100 units and 800 units. So schools need to know these things so they don't actually waste money on electricity having it on during the summer. We're then asked to find the slope of the graph of b of x. So to find the slope of any line, we just need 2 points on the line. So we had the 2 points down here. Slope is going to be positive here of this. Actually 3 points, 4 points if we wanted, but we have, well, we can take the first 2 points, 0, 50 and 175. 100 for x would lead to 75 for y. So the slope here is going to be, I'll just write the 2 points together, 0, 50. So the change in y, 75 minus 50 over the change in x. And let me just see here now, is this exactly on 100? It may not be actually, because if I look here, it may not be just there. So the only point we actually do know here is the 1,325. So I'm just going to use the 2 points we started with. It is a slightly different slope. So we're going to get 325 minus 50 over 1,000 minus 0, so just 1,000. So the slope is 275 over 1,000. And if I proceeded with this one, it would have been 25 over 100, which was incorrect. I should have seen this. That would be 250 over 1,000. Slightly off. And then we're asked the meaning in the context of the question. This is m, 0.275. So the meaning of this is, the meaning for this is that for every 1,000 units used, the cost of electricity goes up by 275 euros from 50 to 325, or for every 1 unit, 0.275. So hopefully that makes sense on a bit of a messy graph, and just be careful not to take points that are not exact on the graph. Question 9a, solve this equation. Clue given, give your answer in this form. So it's quadratic formula. A is equal to 1, B is equal to minus 2, and C is equal to minus 4. Minus B, plus or minus, you've all learned this off by heart. The discriminant is b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. The discriminant is what's inside there. Learn this word off in case they use it. Minus minus 2 is 2, plus or minus the square root of b squared. Put in the minus 2, you need to use a bracket. Minus 4 times a times c, all divided by 2a, so you don't have to do a big long line. 2 times 1. Tidying this up, we get 2 plus or minus the square root of 4 plus 16 over 2, and this will give 2 plus or minus the square root of 20, which on your calculator, the square root of 20 will work out to be root 4 by root 5, 2 root 5. So let's just put that in. 2 plus or minus 2 root 5 is what your calculator will give over 2, and dividing 2 into the top, we're going to get 1 plus or minus just 1 root 5, or root 5 for this one. Part B, given that the square root of d squared is equal to d, multiply out and simplify this guy. Well, c plus root d to be squared. But they want us to multiply it out and simplify it. So just write it like this. So we're going to get c squared plus c times root d. You might see that we're going to get 2 of them, plus c times root d plus root d by root d. For some reason they told you this is equal to d. You should know this already. But this is c squared plus twice c root d, or root dc, whatever way you want to write it, plus d for this one. A kind of strange multiplying brackets question in 2017. And then the final part of this question, The table below shows whether each of the given numbers is an element of, so you need your number system knowledge, not number systems knowledge. Numbers, N, natural numbers, can't talk anymore, Z, integers, Q, fractions, and irrational numbers, or less Q, numbers that can't be written as fractions. So root 6, what are we asked to do? Yes or no in each box. So one row is already done. 16 is all of these, apart from it can be written as a fraction. So let's start with the obvious one. Root 6 is not a natural number or an integer. It can't be written as a fraction. It's one of these irrational numbers. So it's no, yes. 2 over 3 is not a natural number. It's not an integer. It can be written as a fraction. Therefore, this one is a no. -4 is not a natural number. It is an integer. -4 over 1 is a fraction, so it can be written as a fraction. Therefore, it's -2 or less Q. So that's how you do this table. These should be the opposite of each other, and the other ones are fairly obvious.